Coming up today on the San Francisco 49ers Report, teams across the NFL continue to show interest in a Brandon Aiyuk trade. And I've seen a lot of you in the comment section right here on YouTube, on X and Instagram. Anytime there's a report about an Aiyuk trade, you're doing what Aiyuk is doing right here in this photo, stiff-arming those reports. But I'm going to explain why teams interested in Aiyuk doesn't come as a surprise to me, and we'll talk about those reports. But first, let's hear from you. If you want the Niners to give Aiyuk a contract extension, and I think the asking price starts at about $25 million per year, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If you think that's too pricey and you don't want the Niners to extend Aiyuk, I want you to explain your reasoning and comment why. Two reports that I want to get to, and let's lay the foundation here. You don't have to take these reports as gospel here. A lot of people who cover the NFL hear a lot of different things, and keep in mind, this can be agent-driven to increase the value of a client. This can come from an organization, too, to try to up the value and get some better offers out there. So Mia O'Brien, whose report we talked about last week about how the Jags are interested in Aiyuk, Aiyuk's camp has interest in Jacksonville, with another report here. As I noted on XL Primetime, she's a Jags insider down there in Florida, the 49ers reportedly would have wanted number 17 overall in the 2024 NFL Draft, and Zay Jones, who last year was injured. He also got into some legal trouble, domestic dispute. He has had some good seasons, but I don't think the Niners are going to want back Zay Jones and 17th overall. For me, just doesn't make a lot of sense. She continued by saying, then the Jags would have to give Brandon Aiyuk a contract extension, so that is fizzling out. Hopefully this tweet will stop all the random Niners fans who have Facebook friend requested me and IG DM'd me in the last 4 days. That last bit, pretty funny because I love chopping it up with the faithful on social media. When I run into all of you in public, you're always down to talk ball and you always know ball. You have to know that when you're reporting on a team that's a blue blood in the NFL, that has a fan base everywhere, fans are going to be interested. They're going to want to talk, and that's part of being a media personality these days here in 2024. So that's from Mia O'Brien on the Jags front. Andrew Filipponi is a radio host in Pittsburgh. Here we go, Steelers. And he said, sources, the Steelers have looked into 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. He's entering the last year of his contract. The Steelers would have to execute a sign-in trade, but they have shown interest. And the Steelers are looking for a wide receiver 1, a wide receiver 2. They're kind of remaking the offensive side of the football, bringing in Russell Wilson in free agency, and then they made that trade for Justin Fields. And going back to what I prefaced this show by saying, this doesn't come as a surprise to me that teams are interested in a Brandon Aiyuk trade. Chase, why is that? Well, he's gotten better statistically every single year, and that culminated with him being a second-team All-Pro in 2023, a top 10 wide receiver in the game last year. He's a great route runner, awesome hands. He has everything to his route tree. He's tough and physical in the run game, so he's not limited. He has good size. He's a good deep ball threat. He just turned 26 years old, so he's just entering his prime. And in a run-centric offense for San Francisco last year, he still had 75 catches for 1,300-plus yards, and he put up stupid numbers. A team like the Jags just lost Calvin Ridley to the Tennessee Titans. They gave him $23 million annually. A team like the Steelers, they traded away Deontay Johnson, who's their number 2 behind George Pickens, and now they're looking for a wide receiver 2 or a good complement to George Pickens, who has some great size at that wide receiver spot. Some people have been in my Twitter mentions saying, I'll take George Pickens for Brandon Aiyuk. I'm still siding with Aiyuk over George Pickens. Much more low maintenance is Aiyuk as compared to Pickens. I don't want to have to deal with that drama, and you're going to have to pay Pickens just like you're going to have to pay Brandon Aiyuk. And for Aiyuk, he's been an improving, ascending asset who's a low-maintenance player. And I love the way that he plays with the brute force, the physicality, him just being a well-rounded player. And he plays the game the right way. That's everything that the 49ers want. That's everything that Kyle Shanahan wants. Hands, check. Footwork, check. Deep ball, check. Red zone threat, because of his route running ability. He can drop DBs on their knees. Pause, check. Route tree, check. And then he has that size, speed component that I really like. He's not too short like Tyreek Hill, who can be limited. He can go up, plays bigger than his size, but has the speed to be very explosive. Really, what the Brandon Aiyuk situation comes down to for me, and I think this is the Niners thinking right now as I try to take you inside the front office, are the Niners willing to give Aiyuk a contract extension that comes in at $25 million per year? That is more than Calvin Ridley, who Aiyuk is better than, more productive than, more consistent than, and younger than. And it's more than Deebo Samuel, who's making $24 million per year. Is another team willing to give up a first-round pick and give Brandon Aiyuk a contract extension? That's really what this conversation is all about. Now, I don't think the Niners are going to trade away Brandon Aiyuk unless they get blown away by an offer or his asking price from him and his camp is way too exorbitant. But if a move does happen, we're going to cover it because that is the standard here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Whenever the Niners make a move, we discuss it, we dissect it, we break it down. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, you ain't alive. We're 330 people away from the grand total of 132,000 subscribers. Now, if the Niners do trade Aiyuk, coming up next, some first-round offensive line targets and first-round wide receiver targets who could replace Aiyuk. First, today's 49ers Report is made possible by Prize Picks, and they've got specials for new and returning users alike for March Madness when you head over to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Football season might be in the rear view, but the action on the hardwood is heating up, whether it's March Madness or the fight for NBA playoff seeding. There's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. March Madness actually kicks off tonight with the first 4 games, and you can pick more or less right now. Prize Picks is also giving us a free pick for Caitlin Clark's matchup on Saturday. All you have to do is select more than a half point for Clark and pair it with another winner to win up to 3 times your money. So all Caitlin Clark has to do, the female version of Steph Curry, let go a 3 from downtown. Bang! It's good! More than a half point. Caitlin Clark is going to be good for that. We also like Reese Beekman. More than 11 rebounds and assists for Virginia. And then Joel Scott. More than 13 points for Colorado State. Get those brackets in, by the way. Withdraw your winnings, win big-time money, and get a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Getting back to a Brandon Aiyuk trade here. The draft capital in return for me, if I'm John Lynch and we think that that price tag is way too high for Aiyuk, it starts with the first-round pick. And a note to anybody out there, trade conversations go this way as well. When you're asking for a raise or a new contract with your company, you always start high, and then you come down from there. But for me, I'm not moving off asking for a first-round pick for Aiyuk because he's also going into the 5th year of that 5th-year option, 1 more year left on his contract. So for the Jags, they hold the 17th overall pick. What the Niners could do is get back 17. You draft a tackle there to be your future right tackle for the next 5 to 10 years. You hold on to pick number 31, which is the Niners' own selection, and you try to find a Brandon Aiyuk replacement right there at number 31. The Pittsburgh Steelers have picked number 20. You could go with the same strategy there. You select an offensive lineman at 20, and then 11 picks later, you try to find your Brandon Aiyuk replacement who's going to come in nowhere close to $25 million on average annual value. A first-round pick is this starting point in trade talks if I'm running the front office. Hello, this is Chase Sr., general manager for the San Francisco 49ers. Are you calling about a Brandon Aiyuk trade? Yes, Chase, I am. First round pick or nothing. We can't give that up. Click, see ya. That's it. I'm not taking a second rounder. I'm taking a first rounder for Brandon Aiyuk because you drafted him in the first round, 25th overall in 2020. He's turned into a second team All-Pro, and that's equal value there. Now, if the Niners do trade Aiyuk away and you want to draft an offensive lineman, there are multiple offensive linemen within that range who the Niners could select if they do get a first-round pick back. Taliese Fuaga, Oregon State, tackle, nasty player, very good athlete, showed up, showed out the NFL scouting combine in Indianapolis. He moved really well. Troy Fautanu, Washington, played in the national championship. I asked him specifically in Houston in January, you keep an eye on that Niners film and Kyle Shanahan's offense? He said, oh yeah, I do. I think I'd be a good scheme fit. Jackson Powers-Johnson out of Oregon, best center in this class. I don't think it's particularly close, but you can get quality centers in the second and third round. Graham Barton, a player who I love, has played center, has played left tackle at Duke. Arms are a little bit short, could be a guard and a mauling guard at that. I think he's quick enough, agile enough, smart enough to play tackle. J.C. Latham, really good player out of Alabama. And then you got Olu Fashanu out of Penn State, freak athlete, extraordinary size, probably would have been a top 10 pick a year ago, came back to Happy Valley, played well for Penn State, could be a top 10 pick once again, but you never know with all the quarterbacks going off the board if he falls. Amarius Mims, limited starting experience, but a freak athlete, all of the tools to be a Pro Bowler in this league. Same can be said for Tyler Guyton, only has 10 starts under his belt. Started at TCU, transferred to Oklahoma, played well. And then Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU, the physical traits that you want and a lot of experience. He can get to that second level on some of those pull blocks. I think he'd be a good scheme fit. The Niners, if you draft an offensive lineman at one of those spots, you could then hold on to your own pick at 31. You could trade back theoretically if you really wanted to get some more picks. But let's call our shot. You stay at 31, you draft a wide receiver. The Niners had notable formal meetings with all of these players at the scouting combine. Brian Thomas could go top 10. Xavier Worthy could slide into the first round now after running that 4.21 40-yard dash. Troy Franklin, good size and speed. Xavier Legette, some people are calling him Debo Jr. because it's 6'2", 200 pounds. He ran a 4.4, 4.5 40-yard dash. And then Brendan Rice, you can get him a little bit later in the draft. That would be probably a day 3 pick if you want to get Jerry Rice's son. Those are just some of the notable formal meetings that the Niners held with wide receivers at the Combine. There are plenty of other very good wide receivers in this class. Some might be off the board, some might be on the board for San Francisco's choosing there at number 31. But what should the Niners do with Aiyuk? K for keep him, T for trade him. You don't trade special in my estimation. Join the conversation down in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on the show.